What is up, everybody? We are back and we are rocking and rolling. So, in the last two sections of the course, we created a auth manager and we created a user manager. And now we're going to create another AI manager. And this is kind of the theme for this part of the course. It's literally just creating some sort of data service that is our dependency, injecting it into some sort of managing class. You could call it a store, you could call it a repository, then injecting that into our environment. I want to point out that I am very purposely making all of these have the exact same architecture. We very well could change the architecture on some of these versus other ones. But when you get into a bigger project, that starts to get really confusing. To go back into your code base 6 months later and to figure out how each class works or how each dependency works adds a layer of complexity that we just don't need. And so wherever possible, I like to streamline things in my code base. So if I can keep all of my dependencies the exact same way, and I can keep all of my managers or repositories the exact same way, then it's much easier for me to come back here 6 months from now, understand how everything works without even having to look at the code. It's also much easier then for like a junior engineer to jump into the project and understand how it's going to work. So what we're about to build now is a AI manager. So it's going to manage all of our AI generating methods. And as you're going to see, this is actually one instance where we do not need the class instance at all. We could get away with just the service. But I'm going to build it like this anyway, just so that we keep this same structure so that everything ends up being nice and uniform in the code base. You absolutely could argue that since we don't need it, we shouldn't build it. And we could just go with the services and have the services inject directly into the environment. We can use the entry macro, and we absolutely can do that. But I want to stay risk adverse here, and I want to set my project up for the future. If there's a future where I need that instance, now I already have the code and I don't have to do any refactoring. Let's jump into the project. Let's go into our services folder. Let's create another folder called AI. In here, I'll create a new empty file and I'll call it the AIManager. Let's jump in here. I'm going to go full screen for a bit because we're not going to use the simulator for a little bit. On the right, I'll click the plus and open up a second editor here. On the right, I'll click in and let's Option Command O and jump into the user or let's do the auth manager. And again, I'm going to set it up in the same structure. So let's copy this, paste it here. To rename this to AI manager. And I'll close the brackets. This is going to be an AI service. Create a protocol called AI service, and that will be anything that is an AI dependency. And we are going to start with a function that is going to generate an image. We're going to use this to generate the avatar images. It'll take an input. So this will be the string that we are sending to the AI. So create an image of a bird. And then this will be asynchronous, of course, because it's going to take some time on the server to create the image. If there's an error, it will throw it, and then it will return us a UI image. Later, we're going to also generate text when we actually start using the chat feature, but we're going to do that part in a separate video. So for right now, let's get our AI service going here. This will be an AI service. I'll delete this, and we'll just get the service nice and simple. And in our manager, let's go ahead and create a function called generate image. And we'll just try await service, whatever service is injected dot generate image input. So this is the general structure that we're going to have, the manager going to the service again. And you'll notice that we're not doing anything special in here right now. We're getting that error, so we make the service sendable. And that is pretty much it for the AI manager that we need right now. Let's go ahead and actually set up our AI service. I'll close out of the editor on the right. We're going to use OpenAI, and right now we're going to use a Swift package to access the OpenAI API. So I will link this repo below. It is probably one of the most popular OpenAI repos for Swift, and it's pretty simple. You can read through the docs here. We'll read through a little bit in a second. I'll link it below. Let's go ahead and copy the URL and bring it into our project. Let's open up the navigator, add a dependency, paste in the URL, and then let's go ahead and add package. I will note that we are using this package now, but later in the course, in the second module, we're going to actually move all of our AI methods onto the server. So right now, because we're developing our app and we're just building it, and we're not in production yet, I'm going to actually write all of the AI code in our code base. But later, we're going to move all the AI code onto the server, which is just a safer place to have our API key and everything running on the server. But for right now, and for an MVP and for the first version of your app, I would say it's faster to just build with it in your code base. So we should now be able to import OpenAI. Let's create a struct called OpenAI service that conforms to the AI service protocol. In here, we'll add our generate image method. If we go to the docs quick in the repo, you'll see that there's an images section, and there's some example code here. It's pretty simple, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're just going to walk through it together. But I'm going to go quick because, again, this is fun, but this is not actually what we're supposed to be learning in this course. So let's create a query, and we'll set it equal to an images query. I will option enter for the full completion, triple click, and control M. The prompt will be the input that we're going to inject. So we're going to change the input, and we'll have the ability to change, a white cat or a white cat in ultra high definition or whatever it is. The model, we can pick the OpenAI model that we want here. For now, we're going to use GPT-4, which is actually the default, so we can leave that commented out. N is how many pictures we want. We want 1. Let's go ahead and make it high definition, HD. Let's make the response format in the B64 JSON. So it's basically just going to give us back the JSON data for the image. For the size, let's make it maybe 512 by 512. We don't need the biggest images here. For style, we'll tweak this maybe later, but let's go with the natural style. I'm not even sure what the other one looks like yet. And for user, I don't think that we need it, so let's just keep that as nil. All right. Next, it says to make this query. So let's go ahead and we're using async await. Now we need an instance of OpenAI. So it's coming from the OpenAI package. Let's create a variable called OpenAI of type OpenAI. And we'll set it equal to, and we're going to look for the OpenAI with a API token. We don't have the API token yet, so I'll just leave it as a blank string. And now we should be able to take this result. We have an image result, and let's convert that into a UI image. So down here, real quick, we'll say guard let something equals the result dot data dot first. So this is going to return us an array of images. We're going to look for the first one because we're obviously only looking for one image. And we'll look for the b64.json. I'll say guard let b64.json equals that. That's just basically the JSON data. Let's convert that to actual data. We'll say guard let data equals data. And there's an initializer from b64 encoded. We'll pass that in. And then we'll say let image, and there's another initializer to cast that data as a UI image from the data. Pass that in here. Make sure we get the JSON, we get the image, and we convert it to in data. Else, if not, let's go ahead and create an enum called OpenAI error, conform to localized error, and let's go ahead and make a case for invalid response. If for some reason we can't actually convert it to an image, we'll throw an OpenAI error.invalid response. If we get the image, let's go ahead and return it back to the application with return image. All right, and again, we are writing this in our code now, but later in this course, we are going to actually move all of this logic onto the server. The primary reason we're going to do that is because in order to use this in our code base, we need the API token in our code base. And when we get there, I'll link some articles about how that's not a safe approach. You can be open to hackers getting your API key. Chances of somebody actually hacking your code base is quite slim, but obviously we want to keep our code and our API keys as safe as possible. But for right now, let's get our API token and just put it into our bundle, at least while we are building and testing. So we're going to need to actually create an account on OpenAI. So I'm going to link below the website to go to OpenAI. We are going to have to fund this account, so we're going to have to put some money in. I did like $20. If you don't want to actually do that, After this, we're going to create a mock for our AI service. So you can just go ahead and use the mock if you don't want to actually pay the money to generate the images. But it's pretty fun, so I highly recommend it. Go ahead and create an account at the OpenAI website. Once you're in here, you should be able to go to the Settings tab. And in the Settings tab, you'll find the Billing tab. And you just need to make sure that you have a credit balance of just any amount, basically, so that we can actually use the API. I just did $20. It's going to be plenty for our course. You could do less if you're very concerned. If you really want to save money, you can also change the AI model. The older, worse AI models are significantly cheaper than the newest one, which is GPT-4. But even GPT-4 is quite cheap these days. It is lowered in price over the last couple months. After you add a credit balance, let's go into the dashboard, and you should have a project already created. Go to your API keys, and you should be able to here create a secret key. Let's go ahead and create a new secret key. I'm just going to call this AI chat course key and create a secret key. I'm going to obviously hide my key so you guys can't see it, but go ahead and copy it once it is generated. All right, I just want to note that if you created the key before you added the billing, sometimes the keys don't work and you need to generate a second key. So if you did add billing, but the key is not working, you might just have to generate another key. Let's jump back into the code base, and I don't want to paste it here. Let's go ahead and go to our utilities folder where we have our constants, and let's create a new file called keys. And just like our constants, we're going to do a struct called keys, and let's say static let open AI, and we'll set it equal to, and then paste your key in here. I'm going to paste my key, but obviously going to hide it from you guys. So paste your key in there. Let's jump back to our OpenAI service, and let's call keys.openai. And now this, I think, will work, and we're about to find out. Let's create a mock quick. So we're going to create a struct called mock AI service, conform to the AI service protocol, which means it needs to generate an image. And in here, let's just fake like it's going to take some time. So we'll add a try await task.sleep. Let's sleep for maybe 3 seconds. And then let's return a UI image. And I think we already did this in our code base somewhere. In our create avatar view, we said let UI image equals system name star.fill. Let's just go ahead and return that from this method here. And I'll force unwrap it just because we know that is going to be a valid image. Cool, really simple, really easy to get our mock set up. Let's go ahead and put our AIManager into the environment. So I'll go to the app.swift file, the initial file. And just like this, we're going to create another dependency here called AIManager of type AIManager. Let's set AIManager equal to the AIManager with a service, the OpenAI service. This is a variable. I don't really like that we're creating so many of these now. So let's actually come down here. Let's create a struct called dependencies. This will just hold all the dependencies in my app. Let's go in here and we'll just create these in here. I'll make them constants. I will control shift down arrow to get 3 cursors. Let's go to the right and then let's type let. And then I will just delete these. And let's go ahead and create an initializer here. And in the initializer, let's just go ahead and do this. Put the dependencies on the main actor so we get rid of those compiler methods. And then let's just call this dependencies. This will be of type dependencies. And then we'll just set dependencies equal to a new instance of dependencies. Here we're going to call delegate.dependencies.userManager.authManager and .AIManager. Later, when we get into the MVVM and the other architecture in our code base, we're going to move away from using the environment. And so this dependencies will make a little bit more sense when we get there. For right now, I think this will work. Let's jump to our create avatar view. And we already had some code here. Let's go ahead and open the canvas. At the top, I'm going to pull in from the environment the AIManager.self. private var AIManager. Let's also go and put one into the environment while we're here. We'll say dot environment, put the AIManager, and we'll add in the mock AI service. So here, rather than faking this in our code, we'll just pull it from our AIManager. So we'll set generated image equal to try await AIManager dot generate image, and we now need the input. So let's comment this out and just let it compile quick. So we're basically just going to use these attributes to generate the image for now. We can always customize this later and tweak it to get really good images, but we want an image of a man that is smiling in the park. And so we actually already have these three options, and we actually already made a avatar attributes file with an avatar description builder. So let's just go ahead and use the character description that we are going to make for that avatar. It's reusable, not that we have to reuse that. So let's jump to our create avatar view. Let's come down to the bottom. We'll say let input, or the prompt really, the prompt equals the builder here. We'll option enter on the full completion here. And this will be the character option from the top of the screen, the character action, and the character location. Take the prompt and inject it into the method here. Sorry, it should be the builder dot character description is what we're looking for. This is a do catch. Let's go ahead and make a do catch, and we'll just print error generating image with the error. Again, we'll clean this up when we get to the analytics section of the course. Whether or not it is successful or an error, let's go ahead and stop generating the image here. Let's get the preview to work real quick and just make sure that the mock is working. Let's type something here. If I generate this, the image should pull through. That's from our mock AI service. Great. Let's build and run it to a simulator, and let's go ahead and see if the magic is working. So if everything works, we now should actually generate an image on command from the OpenAI API. Let's go to the profile screen. Let's open up the create avatar screen. I can put in any words here because that's not part of our actual prompt. The AI generates animals oftentimes better than humans and aliens. Let's do a cat that is smiling in the forest, and let's generate, and let's see if it works. It'll take a couple seconds now. We are using the GPT-4. There we go. Awesome. So we are using the GPT-4. If I open up the OpenAI service, just a reminder, we are using GPT-4 and we asked for HD. And so those two combined will make the image generate a little bit slower. If we used a cheaper, faster model and we wanted low quality images, it'll generate the images faster. It's sort of like a balance. So you have to decide what's best for your app. So for like image generation, I generally prefer something that's higher quality. But for the chat later, we might do something that's faster, because this way users just can chat really quickly and just get messages back. It doesn't have to be perfect. But this looks like it's working. And now we should be able to like customize this as well. Maybe we change it to an alien that is drinking in the city. Generate that image instead. Again, some of these images are going to be really bad. Just be prepared. OpenAI is great at text. It is not great at images yet. There's definitely another variation. Like, look at that. That is a rough image, I would say. But it is drinking, and I guess he is on Earth. He is on the city. So it's kind of funny. But I would say there is probably another iteration of this app where if I was actually putting it in the App Store, I would use an AI that is actually built for generating images. OpenAI is more for text, and they also do images, but there are other ones that just do images really, really well. Let's try another one with maybe a woman that is shopping in the mall and see if that works. And that does look like a woman that is shopping in the mall. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. It's not the very best image, but for a quick AI app, and now we can use this avatar as our image, as our avatar image, I think this is pretty cool. You guys can also completely customize the script. Obviously, we are just using this a character that is in the park, right? But you could customize this here and just change it basically whatever you want. Like this screen is simple, but the world is now your oyster, right? We connected it, we wrote good code, and now all we need to do is just change the inputs and we can start generating whatever images we want in whatever app you're building. I'll do one more just to wrap up here. Let's go ahead and create a dog. Make it a dog that is relaxing in the park. And hopefully this is a good image as well. It usually does animals pretty well. And I like it. It looks pretty good. We can maybe actually regenerate it and do one more image as well. But that is it for this video. We set up our AI manager, although we did not finish it. We're going to later do text from the AI manager as well. But I just wanted to get it set up, get our OpenAI API key set up. Let's end the video going to our AI manager, and let's just clean up some of our code quick. So in our AI folder, let's create a new folder called services, just like we did with all of the other ones here. Inside these services, we'll put the AI service. We'll put the mock AI service, and we'll put the OpenAI service. Cut this, paste it here. Great. And I will build and run just to make sure it compiles one more time. Let's go ahead and Option Command C. Let's call this a feature, and we'll say AI Manager as well as OpenAI. And before I do that, we actually do have a compiler error. Let's make sure that we import Swift UI at the top here. We got to do it in all of these files. Import Swift UI, and here as well, import Swift UI. This is just because UI image is referenced within Swift UI or UI kit. You could have imported as well. All right, Option Command C. Let's stage it. Let's commit it and push it on up to GitHub. Thanks y'all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.